What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Gamecast, where we meet each and every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, talking about all the world of video games. Everything from what we're playing to what's happening, and maybe just once in a while, what we're into, or maybe not into. And boys, I got something I'm starting to become not into. We'll get into that.
Uh-oh.
But as always, I'm Drew Bosley, joined with none other than Scott Savage. You see him each and every day on the Daily Show alongside with me. And then all the way from jolly old England, we got to bring in our good buddy, Steve Radley. Steve, what's happening, man? How are you?
Not too bad, thank you, Drew. All right there, Scott. So, yeah, all good and ready for this podcast.
Here we go, eh? That's it. We got an interesting show today because we want to talk about the rumors of Xbox and a handheld. Is it true? But before we get there, it is Monday, so that means we had one thing. It's called the weekend. What you guys do on the weekend? Anything?
I played quite a few games. Two for review.
Nice.
One at AFK Journey and one Last Breath that I'm doing with Scott. So make sure you check out the show to check out our reviews. And I actually completed Senua's Hellblade Sacrifice.
Oh, you did?
How was it?
I got to the end. It was good. It was good. A little bit confusing. But I got the credits rolling. And I think I was more gutted because I think I got 13 out of the 14 achievements. So I've missed something on the way. I've missed, like, but I realised in the menu I can actually replay some chapters again, I believe.
Oh,
So
nice.
I might have to do that. But definitely playing a lot of games. And obviously Rise of the Ronin was another one that we were doing for our full review. So I picked a lot of that early in the week, probably after our last podcast. So...
it's definitely busy over here, without a doubt.
Yeah, I got to see a
lot of things.
I got to see a few. Was it 1 or 2 hours we did of Rise of the Ronin?
It was a 2
I got to see quite a bit.
Yeah, it was. What'd you think? What do you think of watching that, Sky? Is it something you're like, oh man, I wish it was on Xbox?
I've thought of it a few times now. Yeah, it's definitely an Xbox kind of thing. Not a game that I would want to play on PC just because of the nature of it. But yeah, I'm a little jealous.
I've got a question for you guys because you're more experienced. Is there any samurai games on Xbox that you know?
Ninja Gaiden would be the first one I would go to, eh, Scott?
Yeah, I think of Sekiro.
Yep, sure.
Drew did not like Origami very much, but that is a ninja game. Not a samurai game. It's more of a ninja game.
Man, I did not like that game at all. It was... It was so disappointing. No, it's not. Here's the funny thing. It's one of those games like, you and my brother played it, right? You guys both love it. I'm like, this game sucks. I don't know what it is. It does not click. I want the Tenchu experience. I want the Ghost of Tsushima experience.
Yeah.
That is nothing like either one of those games. And then it was just, this is so corny, over the top. No, they might as well put it on mobile.
Do you think Xbox need a Ghost of Tsushima? Do you think Xbox need a game like that? Ghost of Tsushima?
Well, they do have Sekiro, right? Like there is that. Well, they
I think
is that an open world? Is it open world?
It's more
Sekiro
linear.
is, yeah.
Isn't it? It's more linear, though, isn't it, Scott? Right?
Well, it's not as open as more open worlds are. It's not like a Zelda game. It is more like attached cabinets or corridor kind of things. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the old Tomb Raider where they introduced like the open area, but from like a point A to point B experience, right? Like that's really kind of
okay. Yeah.
That's still going to end up at the same destination, but they just tell you where you need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's weird pockets. You'll fall back in time, and now you're in a different kind of pocketed dimension. It's weird. That game gets strange, but
did we get a sequel?
I did not actually finish that one. That's a good question, but I think we would have heard something a little bit more by now.
Well, FromSoft is pretty busy.
FromSoft is busy, and they do like to neglect some of their projects in favor of other ones. You know, Bloodborne being one.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Bloodborne. Yeah, dude, I don't know if we'll ever get a sequel. Like the fans almost demand it at this point. They're like, "Where is our sequel?" And they're FromSoft's like, "Nope."
Okay, I've never played Bloodborne. So
no thanks.
Is there a thing for a sequel, or is it be better to have like a DLC?
No.
Oh, it's so old now that you'd have to just be a remaster plus DLC. I think that'd be the way
did
to do it.
PlayStation do a remaster of it, a remake? I thought Bloodborne.
No, that was Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Too many Souls going around here. Things like that kind of thing. Demon Souls, Bloodborne.
Yeah, it was a launch.
Still the same thing.
That's from Blue Point,
different
right?
flavors of pain.
Yeah. It's the Souls like, right? Like if you're into that stuff, that's cool. Then you're all set. But for me, it's just no. That's just not my style, right? It's not my genre. I don't have time to just bash my head into a wall continually, to then just go back out and do it again to get beat back down. Like I've sat here for an hour and progressed absolutely nowhere. I don't have time for this.
Do you know what I found out with Liza P? That was frustrating. That was so frustrating. It's one of those games I mentioned. I started it, taking it off. I will go back to it after I've calmed down and get used to the controls.
Pull myself.
I think I remember.
You get frustrated, didn't you? And then you just get. Then you start speed running. Well, I do sometimes. It's like I've done this bit 100 times. I'm going to speed run and die straight away. Yeah, I'm coming away from this.
Yeah,
I remember that Liza P. I've wanted to go back as well, but that's how you do it for me. You just run all the way to the boss, and then he takes his hat off, and then defeats you halfway through the fight. Every time.
Then run again.
Yep, right back to it.
Yeah, no. Scott, you did anything over the weekend?
Nothing incredibly out of the norm.
Nope.
Just played a little bit of some Outcast, getting into that one,
Nice.
dipping my toe, and I've been looking into. Actually, I just re-downloaded it today, Industria. So I'm going to play through Industria once more on my Xbox this time because Industria 2 has been announced. It is official, and I'm a big fan. I believe that's Bleak Mills, and I cannot wait to see what they drop now. It's called a slow-paced first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Advertised that way.
We hung out with friends over the weekend over here, which was nice. It was good friends of ours. They are expecting their second baby, so they're now days, if not a day, 2 days. I think it's the 28th. Could be wrong. Either way.
Wow.
It's this week, right? So the plan is to have their baby this week. So we're very excited for them. So we had them over. We went to, up here is known as Sweetwater Festival. It's kind of this area that we go to, almost like a yearly event now at this point. And we went there, dude. They celebrate kind of our native heritage back in the day and pilgrimage and all that kind of stuff, right? So we go check that out, and had a good time there with our friends. We hung there for like almost what felt like the day. We left at 10. We didn't get back till like 4 o'clock or something. It was nuts. It was a good time. So came back here and did a charcuterie board. I don't know if anybody has done a charcuterie board, but it is just like meat, cheese, crackers, and beer and what. It's a great time. We had a ton of fun. So yeah, it was nice. It was a good weekend. Good weekend over here too. And boys, let's get into it. We talked about it quickly. Steve, you told us Hellblade, dude. Hellblade. Yeah, I'm proud of you, man. I'm happy for you too. That's very exciting. I like it. There's nothing better than getting in there. Yeah, there's the credits. So let's get into it. What are we playing right now? Steve, start us off.
Well, I just sort of said Hellblade.
That's it? That's all you're playing? That's fair.
Well, no, Hellblade. I played Rise of the Ronin.
Yeah.
I still pick at that one a little bit. I'm kind of pulling away from that now, I think because we now moved on to the next.
Are you going to finish it?
I don't know.
Oh, there's a big pause. That was a big pause right there.
That's a fair thought.
You know what? I think the issue is there's still loads to do in it. And, there's other games that I really enjoy, like Ghostwire, Tokyo Ghostwire.
Sure.
Which the magic hands and that. And I got kind of far in that. And I got sidetracked from playing other games. So I really want to go back to previous games and start picking at them a bit more. Now I'm a bit more experienced on the controls and things like that, which I do believe has helped me get through Senua's Hellblade, basically.
Nice.
Because beforehand it was like, I can't figure these puzzles out. But now I'm seeing differently now. The more games I play, of like, hold on a sec, turn this angle, line it up. Now I can get through the door. And that's what happened was I got through the last few chapters fairly quickly.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
pretty cool.
Northern Nerdcast says, okay, time for you both to finish Rebirth. Man, how much time? I got, yeah.
Oh, I still want to do, I do want to get back to that as well. First one, the Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
The remake? Finish that up first and
The
then
remake.
jump back into Rebirth?
I think I would like to do that, yeah.
Brad posted that photo in our Discord of all of the Final Fantasy VII, different forms of it, different media. And I would love to see that stack with another Xbox edition on there too. That would be nice.
Oh, and
I don't know if we'll ever see it, but...
And I want to quickly sort of mention as well, obviously the game we're doing for review, the AFK journey, is I wish I had it on mobile as well now.
Yeah.
Because that'd be something I would like to play or carry. I don't know if you can still have it on your mobile and if it will take the progress over.
I don't know, but there's not too much we can say about it right now either.
No.
Yeah, look for that embargo coming up here shortly this week. Scott, what have you been playing?
I've been a lot of PUBG, a lot of nightly PUBG with you guys. A little bit on my own before you guys have hopped on lately, and I had a really wicked game the other day. I sent Corey a lot of my clips, just driving around in the car, hop into the side and shoot somebody. And I did that. I just kept going and going and going. I think I had 14 kills that game. So
it's awesome.
PUBG still, as many times as we have an awful game, and there are a few of those every day. The ones that are good just spike me right back up. I'm such a low energy guy that I think when you get into those last few circles and my heart starts going, I love it. I'm right back in.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anything else you've been playing, or just mostly that?
A little bit of Outcast, but I'm still getting my feet in the water on that one still. It doesn't quite feel familiar yet. Still kind of learning what to do, where to go kind of thing. But I'm trying to rack my brain here because I feel like I've played a lot more than just those two.
Bunch of review stuff, right? But, obviously, like as always.
Yeah, the issue is it's a tied in, tied out kind of thing, and my memories get pulled out with the tide as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm there with you, right? You and I are playing PUBG with my wife. We're hanging out, having a good time. Another win last night, like our first game, and then after that, it just seemed to go downhill. It's just like, oh man, but it was a good time. From there, Predecessor is my go-to. Like I'm 90 hours in, over 90 hours now at this point, just on the closed beta, and then I think I'm somewhere around 60, 70 hours on PC. Like it's not slowing down. It's about to open up on the 28th, which is super exciting for Xbox, right? So now I'm like, okay, who else is gonna join me now, right? Come on over, Xbox buddies. Let's hook up and play. But I'll be on PlayStation. So it's got crossplay. I'll meet you on the game chat, and we'll hang out and do that, or we'll just jump into Discord or something.
And then it'll be me. Hey, Steve, join my server, and then all of a sudden you're level 1,000, and I'm on level 1. You're dead.
That's how our PUBG goes every single night too. Hey, look, Rando is level 800.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes they're on fire, but I'm like, other times they're just instantly. It just depends on where you fall sometimes, right? And if you spot the guys before they do, and it's kind of how that goes. But yeah,
so
Predecessor
has low ping.
Well, that too, yeah. Predecessor is my definitely is my go-to. I'm there either for a couple games a night or just a game. As long as I get a game in, I'm like, okay, I'm good. But it's always wanted to figure out another route to kind of build my stuff up. Can you what?
Can I pull you into some Halo? Because I have a friend that just moved to Nova Scotia, and I see him online playing Halo now. I go, we don't have too many of the same games. I think I'm jumping into that one. And
really? Eh?
The goal of all of these shooters is assemble a team, and you'll do better.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things I'm missing from Predecessor is that I'm really just doing solos. And it's hard when I'm solo with the rest of the team. Sometimes the team's on fire, and we all just mesh. Other teams were not, right? Or other times we're not.
Sometimes you have to carry my weight sometimes.
I will say one thing. I did download Destiny 2 again.
Did you really?
I did, but I'm so freaking anxious about starting it because I know it's changed so much. And it's kind of like, should I? Not ready, Steve. Not ready.
Yeah.
But I really want to jump back into that because it's still a really good game. But where it is on the story and what the hub's like now, and it's going to be mind-blowing.
It's definitely a lot. Brad asked if anybody's played Nightingale yet. No, we have not tried Nightingale. It is on my radar. I've heard mixed things come out of that one, but it's kind of.
I think they changed a bit of it. I think from what we've initially seen as a trailer, because I signed up for the beta and I've not actually jumped into it, but I see like the updates I get by email and that. It's more like a survival, like crafting kind of game now.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's out now in early access. And it's something I've been watching for a while, but I think when that dropped, Enshrouded dropped, and we went with Enshrouded. We had codes to get into that and hang out and play that, so that's been a ton of fun that way. I haven't been able to get back to Enshrouded, unfortunately. There's they've got quite the roadmap lined up this year, which is very, very cool to see. But man, it's funny to see how many games are coming around as this games of service model. That how do they pull you in, right? And does it work and does it not work? So just to wrap up this, I think we'll get in. Where are we at right now? Yeah, let's wrap up. So everything else I've been playing, games for review, just doesn't end, which is exciting for us. It always keeps us going. I love what we do. And then from there, very little Siege lately. I'm kind of starting to get. It's funny because I asked my wife, like, "What do you want to play?" I want to play PUBG. I'm like, okay. All right, I'm down for PUBG because there's just nothing like the pulling out the M24 and sniping people. What a feeling! It is awesome, dude. I sniped a guy out of a truck yesterday again. It was so I'm like this. I love this.
Oh yeah.
So you get that. Siege is there, but I'm like, I bought the battle pass, so I want to get in. And I want to grind out that battle pass, right? A little bit of Skull and Bones, very very little bit of Skull and Bones.
You must be near the end of that now, aren't you?
Yeah. So I'm coming up on 70 hours in Skull and Bones.
Holy, that's so much time.
Right? It's just like, we'll come back to that one in a second. I'm just trying to figure out what else I've been playing. I think really it's just been review games, PUBG, Predecessor, and Siege. That's kind of like my go-to, right? Because you get this time, I'm like, I want to do some single player stuff. Oh, I'm still playing Balatro. Damn that game. Man, I'm telling you, if you like poker, you gotta try this game. It is so wild. It is so cool. I just love it. It's got this roguelike element. It's got all these different, you get different jokers, and they add multipliers and different effects to your outcome of your score. And you just kind of you go through the small blind, big blind, and then the boss fight, and then you start over, and you try to just work your way through these 8 rounds and these antes they call them. If you know poker, you know what I mean. And it's man, you fail, and then I'm right back in. I'm just right back in. So I'll pick that up, and then MLB The Show 24 is the other thing I'm playing. I've got my Road to the Show character back. That's growing. I'm grinding that out, and then I'm getting into Diamond Dynasty. So I'm then building up my roster, and I'm loading that in, and I'm doing all the moments, and I'm getting stubs so that I can go get new packs, which then allow me to enhance my roster some more, so I can put in a better center fielder or a better pitcher and start building up my library of my roster there. What a grind, right? Like it comes down to what a grind, which is gonna pull me right into boys in or out. And right now, I think I'm out of Skull and Bones. I think it's come down to it. I'm about to pull the plug. I've reached a point now where I'm like, I will probably dabble a little, but it calls for so much of my time that I just don't have the time. Like I watch my brother who plays Skull and Bones, and the dude is on it from what feels like the minute the sun comes up until sometimes the sun goes down, right? And I'm just like, I don't have this time. I really don't have this time. We're on other things. We have a family, right? Like, there's just other life priorities at this time. And not to say my brother doesn't have a life. He does have a life, and he has kids and a wife and all this stuff too. Just his circumstance right now actually allows him to play more games than I do, and this is what I do for a living. Like, it's freaking stupid.
It feels weird, doesn't it?
It does. It really. I'm like, how are you past me in Skull and Bones? This is what I do. Like, what are you doing? You go back, go inside or something.
He just sees his children at birthdays and Christmas.
Well, his kids are off to school and whatever else. So, but it's just the way, and then of course, then Ubisoft has done a bunch of changes to Skull and Bones too. And then the grind now. So at the end, I'm at end game content now, right? So I'm at the end of the game, and this is where you get into your manufactories, they call them, which is basically a factory that produces rum and other things like this, that, and the other. And you get pieces of 8. Well, then pieces of 8, and you get turned into different currency. But to get pieces of 8, you gotta own so many of these factories. So, and then once you level them up, they produce. So what happens is now I'm at level 5 on 2 of my factories, 2 or 3. And then level 4 for my 4th factory. But all these factories have roots. And if you can tie these roots together, then they add a multiplier in for you too. So you want to get like that area taken care of. Now to fund a factory, one factory cost me 14,000 silver, and it takes 17 actual hours to produce 1,000 pieces of 8. So you basically come in, you pop in, and then I fund my factory, and then I walk away. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, right? Like, this is kind of where I don't know about this. And then now I'm into MLB The Show, and that's like a time sink. I'm like, guys, I really start to miss the days of, here's a game, play it for 8 hours, and call it a day. Like, that's kind of, right? I like a games of service model, but I'm starting to get tired of them. I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I feel like I'm okay with games of service, but I'm already full up on them now. Rainbow Six Siege is really the only games of service I need. We sprinkle in a Helldivers every once in a while, and that makes everything exciting again. But you're describing this thing about the manufactories, and it's making me think of Total War games. I don't know if you've ever played it or seen any of the Total War games.
I've seen them. I've never played them.
Well, very much the same thing. You're playing off different trade routes and things, but it's a grand strategy game, so you're playing it over turns, but building up this kind of refinery and then connecting it to these guys, open my trade up with other nations. You've got me thinking about that, which is something I have been thinking about ever since Rise of the Ronin. I'm thinking of Shogun Total War 2 and how I want to play that one. I am excited for some samurai games, but it just looks a little different.
Which is fair, which is very fair. Steve, how are you feeling right now? Obviously, you just wrapped up Hellblade, right?
Yeah.
Rise of the Ronin, you're still working on. Nothing there is really like a game of service model. So when you get in, is there something that's hooked you at all when it comes to the games of service side?
I mean, Horizon, for me. I think there was something about Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, the open world. I think if the characters are believable and it's a story that gets you and you can not relate to, but you can feel what that character's going through. A bit like The Last of Us when you first played that.
Sure.
Then for me, like Horizon Forbidden West it was one of those games that I pick it up, play it, you do the story, the side quest, but it was, even when you went back to it and just done a side quest, you could still be 3-4 hours and it's its own little story, and it'd be like its own little mini game, but still part of the main story.
Yeah.
So I think it all depends on the game. I think Skull and Bones for me I was apprehensive at first, start off with, and I think now after hearing your side of it, and I probably put about 6 hours in it, was kind of like, I probably wouldn't buy this game. I don't think I would have to grind. I think some games are not designed for solo players. It just doesn't work. And I think that's a shame sometimes, it's almost like Helldivers. There's pointless playing that solo. But you wish sometime... Do you know what I mean? So certain games are hit and miss, but there are some out there that I would love to go back to. Like you said, Hellblade was one of them. I liked the story. I got stuck on puzzle. So I thought, right, have a break from it.
Sure.
I went back onto it, and it was like I never left, but I was a bit more knowledgeable on it.
Which is cool,
a bit
right?
more understanding of the stuff. So it's kind of nice gratification of that.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like we're all coming to the same conclusion here, is that we're liking more of a single player narrative driven experience. When it's done. Maybe you get a sequel, but I'm hearing these explanations and I'm thinking of Captain Velvet Meteor, which I have actually just recorded a review for, so I'm not going to get into it here. But the idea that you can identify with a character and kind of feel what they're feeling, you can understand what they're going through. That's very powerful.
It is, right? Where the games of service models is just a whole different take. And I think for me, what it is jumping into Skull and Bones is it's just me hanging out with my brother, right? I think it's just meeting up with some friends, some family, whatever it may be. And I think that's the games of service model. Dude, that's what Helldivers 2 is all about. You don't, like you say, Steve, you don't fly that thing solo. That's the last way to play that game, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to do that. What you do is you meet up with your friends. Hey, guys, let's go. What are you going to do? Let's go shoot some bugs or some automatons, and away we go, right? Like, that is the core premise of that game.
Do you think if Rise of the Ronin had better co-op or multiplayer, like a bit like Red Dead, where you can actually go off and do more side missions that you can both go off on your horse? Do you know what I'm saying? I wondered if that would have been better than the way they actually did it, or is this the way of games are going to become nowadays? Is that you join someone else, you do one little bit of a mission, get a bit of rewards, no cutscene, and boom, back at the home base.
Yeah, it was
That's
weird.
missing out on so much.
I think that's a
is.
little bit tacky, and yeah.
I was thought it was funny because my brother's got Rise of the Ronin now. The game's out, everybody's got it, right? If you want to play it, so we can talk about whatever we want. We're not going to spoil the story. Yeah. It's still too early for that crap. But at the end of the day, I'm talking to Darren. He's like, "Man, the multiplayer sucks." I said, "Yes, it does. It's not a co-op
Darren,
game."
Did you watch our review?
Big question. Why did you tell him to see our review?
Right, I know. My brother just calls me up and says, "Hey, how you doing with this game?" I'm like, "I'll tell you in a little bit." And then he goes, "Okay, can you tell me now?" Yes, this. He just gets the thesis of the review after we're done. But either way, it's just one of those. Hey, like, what's up with this multiplayer? I'm like, it's not a co-op game. It is a mission-based structure of I need help. Come help me, and let's go out and do this. It is not a jump in from the very beginning. It is not Ghost of Tsushima Legends, where you jump from the very beginning. You can play a 2-player co-op experience of a story campaign, or you go into, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like their horde mode, and you go with 3 other buddies.
Was it the Iki Island?
Yeah. No, Iki Island is the DLC, which is fantastic. If you haven't played that, shame on all of you. So if it's, it is one of those things though. It's like that is a co-op game. That's a co-op experience. Ghost of Tsushima has a single player, and then it has a multiplayer component. Rise of the Ronin has a single player game. And it's a single player game because the multiplayer just is useless. It is really just heartbreaking when they introduce this co-op. Because Steve, like you say, right? You and I jump in. We jump into the co-op. I had to get to a certain point where you start the mission. And then that allows... And it's not all missions either. Like, not all missions allow you to have somebody join you. It is only specific missions. And then you invite them, or you can go with your AI companions. At this point, like for me, this is a single player game. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother with the multiplayer. It's just
that's a shame.
Well. I think that's what he said. I think it's more like the boss fights because it's when you can actually change from your main character to 2 others that you pick to help you, your allies that you meet along the way. Yeah, and I think all you do is with the co-op, you can replace them to AI characters with your buddies, but it's only for that one boss fight or whatever mission it is where you can have up to 3 players,
and then you're gone.
See, it's really a shame that there's a missed opportunity here because what we've just figured out is that you can spend a lot of time with just playing with your brother on a game that maybe you'll spend a little bit too much time on that game just because you're able to. It kind of supports you to mess around. My brother and I, we play Red Alert 2 still, Command and Conquer, 20-year-old game, still play it, still love it. But these new games that come out and lack that multiplayer ability, these games are going to fade out of your memory much quicker. You're not going to spend that time with your brother playing these games for hours and hours. It's just not there.
I remember jumping in, so we talk about him often on this show because he's a good friend of ours, Kyle, my buddy Kyle. Dude, him and I met up online, jumping into GTA, and all we did was drive around and talk. Hadn't talked in a couple of days, just got caught up. What's going on? How you doing? This, that, and the other. He goes, what are you doing right now? I said, I'm literally just driving the highway, dude. He goes, me too. And that's all we did that night. We did nothing but just shoot the breeze and just drive through GTA because it's got that co-op online community field, right? And you want to talk about a games of service, nobody besides, I think, Fortnite really does it better, right? Like they just keep calling you back in. They even dropped a new mission. Boys, we got to go play that mission, by the way. Okay, that's my in and out.
Is that the Cluckin' Bell?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I'm out. I think I'm about to bounce out of Skull and Bones. And maybe just dabble a little bit here or there. But Scott, what are you in and right on?
Then this might be a controversial one. I think I'm out on single player action RPGs. Okay, This is gonna get very specific. I'm gonna boil this right down to Dragon's Dogma. I'm not feeling Dragon's Dogma initially. I just don't have that hook in me. But what's worse than that is the whole discourse around that game is just a garbage can on fire right now, and it's pushing me in the other direction. There's this talk about microtransactions. Are they micro? Are they macro? Are they necessary at all? Well, if they are, should they have been there? If they're not, should they have been there? There's no good answer. Pay to fast travel, but you don't have to. It's just, it feels like everything about that game. It feels like everything about that game is designed to cause an argument, and I'm seeing that argument happen all day on Twitter. Now that's true of Twitter, but this game specifically has just kind of driven me away.
Which is unfortunate.
Maybe that's unfortunate. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's truly a game that speaks to me. The first one didn't.
Which is fair, right? I think you just gotta find what clicks, and if it doesn't click,
then
that's maybe you're out right there, right? Steve,
what about you? There's some other action RPGs that I'm gonna play very shortly that I don't want to talk about just yet, but I guess I'm looking forward to that one.
No Rest for the Wicked is out next month for early access. That is an action RPG by Moon Studios,
okay.
The team behind Ori. I cannot wait to get into that world. It has so much, from the crafting to the building, customizing your home, and then the actual story and campaign. I'm like, yo, goodbye world. Like this can't come fast enough. It's one of my most anticipated games this year. Steve, what about you? What are you in or out on, buddy?
Unfortunately, it's gonna be in out, but because
we're
we
all
didn't do
in
it
today. This is bad.
I guess because we did it last podcast, because we done the predictions for the Gamecast, the nominations kind of thing, and it was one of the ones that you and Scott talked about was Sony giving up on the PSVR 2, as in is I think it's so heartbreaking for the people that went out, bought the PS5, they gave all the hype, Horizon, the open world VR game,
call them out,
and it was the same price as a console, but you still had to have the console to play it. And they thought, thank you very much, I'm done. Like they do like Netflix, like with shows and stuff like that, when they sort of just scrap it after it's finished. It kind of feels...
I felt that one.
But it's true, though. Why spend all these years in developing hardware and software for your product, and you give up after a couple of years?
They did the same thing with the Vita. They did the same thing with the Vita. Right? There is no first-party support. And that's what we talked about basically on the Daily Show, that the biggest struggle they have is that they didn't support it. Straight up. No one else did anything, right? They came out with Horizon Call of the Mountain, and then they patched in Gran Turismo 7. So you literally bounced into that world with your VR headset on. It is a flat screen. And then the cockpit. Once you hit the cockpit, then you're in VR, and it is awesome.
Do you think if they actually come in at a lot cheaper price, do you think that would have made a difference? People buying it more like the Quest 2? Because at the end of the day, you know, when you have like the Quest 3 or the Quest Pro is over like $3,000, and then didn't they scrap that as well? Because a lot of people wasn't buying it because of the cost of it. It wasn't practical.
It's not practical, but it's funny because the Apple Vision Pro or whatever that thing is just like $3,400. I'm like, are you
I put another zero on it.
Are you insane? Yeah, like, that is nuts. I'm not buying that thing. Are you kidding? For what? A handful of games? No thanks.
Yeah.
Right? Where I've seen people though, I've seen people put that on, pull up a video, and then fix their car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I've seen some real world application stuff.
Incredible stuff with it, right? It's really, really cool to see. But for me, I'm using it for a gaming purpose. And the PSVR 2 had something. They really, really had something. Because they stepped up so far from PSVR 1 to PSVR 2. But it's no different than the Stadia. Google Stadia had no first-party studios. They had no first-party exclusives.
But
right?
you know,
1 or 2. That's not enough. This is where we are here with PSVR 2.
But the thing is, they also release games. We know the potential. We've played games that are perfect. Do you know what I mean? On the PS5, like graphically, audio, and everything like that. So you know, the VR headset is going to be that kind of technology with high fidelity graphics, ray tracing.
It should be
But then, like everything else, why not make the games designed for that system to make the full potential? Why just port something over to the console, then to VR headset, like you say, then it's flat screen?
Yeah.
Because then you might as well just play it on the Quest 2 or something.
Yeah, I look at the PlayStation VR 2 as if, and this is going to get weird, but I think of it as a heavy deadlift, okay? You need 2 hands to do a deadlift. One of those being the hardware, and the other being the software. And the software just wasn't there. And when you don't have 2 hands to do the deadlift, it just becomes dead, not a lift.
Which is fair.
It's just dead weight on the part of Sony, really. It degrades their brand, ultimately. I don't know how many people are really that soured on it. If I had spent money, I would be. But
I think I'll just wait for people just to sell theirs off where they're bored of it now because no games. All right, $100.
Well, so
right
PlayStation, like Sony's looking to open it up to PC, right? It's because so they stop production on it. If the minute they stop production, it's over. Like that is over.
Yeah.
If you're not producing more units, it's because you're done. You don't believe in your product anymore, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Which means there'll be no updates and it'll all be outdated.
No updates, no games. The only thing keeping that thing alive right now is third party, and they're only going to do it for so long because, like, who did I see the other day? They said they'd like to bring their games over to PSVR 2, but the install base isn't big enough and they can't be bothered.
Oh, yeah, that's the problem.
Right?
And Sony was supposed to be the one to.
But the thing is, though, if PlayStation bring like VR games to PC, then you're going to get a lot of modders and people like that. They're going to be able to play those games on your Quest,
right,
or any other headset that's not PlayStation.
Yeah, no, for sure, right? There's definitely a couple things. I don't know what's going to happen, all in all, though, but I think pretty well PSVR 2 is over. I think that thing is just dead in the water. I don't think PlayStation or Sony have any concept to push that thing forward. I think they're just finished. I think they're going to wash their hands of it and walk away, just like they did with the Vita, which sucks, right?
Luckily, at least they ran an experiment for Xbox now. Xbox does not have to sink all that time and money and sour some of their fan base.
Speaking of Xbox, let's get into a guy's topic of the show as we're half hour already through our show. Let's get into
Swing
Xbox
back positive.
Is prototyping a native Xbox handheld. It's claimed. This has me excited. Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming. We'll talk about this. Jez Corden of the Xbox 2 podcast has claimed that Xbox is working on a new native Xbox handheld. On the Xbox 2 podcast, Corden said, quote, I know that Xbox have got a handheld prototype right now, end quote. Corden soon clarified that these are new prototypes and not the old prototypes often referred to. As pointed out in the podcast, prototypes don't necessarily mean the new products are coming to market, but Xbox pursuing a handheld isn't at all surprising. Corden later said, quote, no, not a cloud handheld, a fully native Xbox handheld. Boys, where are we at with this? How excited are you or aren't you I'm going to kick it over to Scott. I can see him grinning from ear to ear already. Scott, what are your thoughts here? Xbox going handheld? Is this the next unit? Or is this like a Vita situation or a Steam Deck situation?
Well, again, I think PlayStation has done the experiment for Xbox. They've kind of run it and done their handheld, their streaming handheld Portal.
Yep,
but that does not, in my opinion, that doesn't satisfy the needs of what an Xbox handheld should do. So to hear that it running natively, these games running natively on that means that it's not just a streaming tablet. And that's very good news to me. I don't have to take the bus anymore, at least not where I live. Yeah. But the idea of taking some of those games with you on the go, a la something like the ROG or the Backbone, there's so many different kind of versions that do that. I think it's high time Xbox comes in with their own version.
Fair enough. Steve, where are you at?
It's a tricky one. I am excited to have Xbox like a handheld. I do get a bit overwhelmed with what's out there for handhelds, like you sort of said. You've got the PS Portal, you've got Google, there's other different Steam Decks, those kind of things, which I know they're streaming. How big's the memory going to be on this? Is it going to be 50-50? Like have most of the program that's on there, but then a lot of it is still cloud based on the bigger games, so it doesn't eat up all the storage on things like that. How big's the screen going to be on it? Is it going to be bigger than your mobile phone that you can still use the cloud? So I'll be interested to see where it's going to go and physical weight, the size of it, and how it feels in the performance. But is this going to be something that's going to go up against Nintendo's new Switch or something like that?
Switch 2.
Is it going to be near enough the same kind of time?
Is this Xbox's next console? Instead of going with the Xbox Series X and S2, this is what we get instead? Is this their next version? I think they're gonna bring out new consoles. This is gonna be part of the family. They've already mentioned they want to bring gaming to everyone, to the masses. Sure.
So if it's handheld, if it's console, if it's streaming or on your mobile or PC, that's what they want to do. They will just bring their service to everyone that's interested in it, who wants it, and it be available to everyone.
When you take a look at the market right now, right? We take a look at the Switch. Switch is ancient at this point, right? But we're about to get a Switch 2, which is very exciting at the end of the day. From there, what else do we get into? The Steam Deck. Steam Deck allows you to physically download games to the platform. It's not streamed, right? It is native to the hardware then in this case. How big is that memory card? There's different versions of you can get, so you can get different file sizes and this, that, and the other. Because games today aren't just a couple hundred megabytes usually, right? If it's the smaller indie title, then you can get away with that. You get it in the AAA space, you're close to 100 gigs. Easy, hands down, right? So there is that. I have the Logitech G Cloud. That's how I currently play my Xbox stuff from a handheld device. And it streams over. And it works. Here's my problem. That's not an Xbox controller, right? It is literally not an Xbox controller. I have the PlayStation Portal. That is a DualSense controller chopped in half, the screen tossed in the middle. And
that's the way to do it.
It is awesome, right? So I'm hoping Xbox pays attention to what PlayStation's done and gives us that physical feel of a controller and allows us to work off of that with a screen. But like you say, Steve, how big is a screen? How big is our memory space, right? How big is the hard drive allowing us to get in to download Halo Master Chief Collection? How big is that game, right?
See, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't want to get something like this. And then what they've done is it's like a movie. They cut a load of bits out to cramp it all in to make it work and fit. But then you miss out half the story or certain cutscenes. Certain things.
I have a prediction is that, and I think we're thinking along the same lines, because when it comes to running a game that's we're used to on a Series X, we'll say, it's going to be so big that it's going to be hard to fit it down to something like that, unless this tablet is entirely a hard disk. But
I mean, and the thing is, you can't have it too small because some people like text or subtitles on games.
Oh yeah, the screen
good,
has
the cell phone is like trying to zoom in on it. It's got to be readable and see all the stuff on the UL on the screen.
I think what they're going to do is I think this will be, I make the joke Series Y. I think this will be the Series Y. And I say that because I think it'll have the series name being part of the family, just like you say, Steve. I think but what I foresee is that just like there's an Xbox One version and an X and S version, I think there will be a third version of some games that we'll see pop up. A Series Y, a made for Steam Deck kind of version of a game.
Really?
But specifically to run on something like that, because if you could demake it in some regard to lower the amount of space it needs on the hard drive, I think that would be one way of doing it. And then you could also kind of, unfortunately,
that's why I wondered if it'll be
certain
50/50.
aspects of it so it'll run.
That's why I wonder if it'd be 50/50, like the main base game, but some of it would still be cloud.
Oh, downloading and that's another kind of way
you
of
have a
lightening
big
the load.
portion. So when you get onto the next level, we put it as you're playing chapter 1, for argument's sake, it's already downloading chapter 2. So then you get to it, and then it'll do chapter 3 kind of thing. Keep it flowing.
I'm thinking that they give you the option is where I'm going, right? Because they have the X Cloud or the cloud side of them, right, is so heavy now, and it's so structured that there's a ton of money invested into that. So I think what they're going to do, here's my prediction of what this handheld device does. I think it gives you the option to A, download the game, or B, stream the game. So now you have your whole library on the go. So Phil Spencer's already said, game streaming right now, if you go to the cloud, right, and you can stream the games they list. You can't stream the games from your library. Phil wants to bring that over, and the team over at Xbox, to allow you to take your library on the go, whether it's download or stream. Because right now you can do parts of it, but not all of it.
You can do it on the cloud. I think I've done that before, played games off my console and streamed some direct.
Yes. So that's what I mean, right? So right now when I tap in with Logitech G Cloud, I can stream anything from my Xbox. Anything. Yeah. But if I go into the actual cloud service, there's a select list of games there you can pick from, but I might not be able to grab Hitman as an example, right?
I know a lot of them could be on the phone. It's touchscreen games.
Yeah.
as well.
Vampire Survivor, I think.
Unless you got the controller Bluetooth to it, some games will have that.
Yeah. I don't know. I find this very interesting. Let me ask you guys ready for this? What's the price tag of this?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna guess at $5.99, 600 Canadian.
Holy man!
I'm thinking it's gonna be expensive because the hardware's it to
I don't
justify
know.
its existence. It needs the hardware that will justify the cost.
I think it could be high, but it could be the same price as maybe Series S.
So
Maybe
here,
like 300-400 or something.
Actually, that's a very good point of comparison. Yeah, I didn't consider
Yeah.
that. You really should look at the console prices.
it's not a bad idea. PlayStation Portal, streaming only, right? It doesn't have the download capabilities. It's a streaming device only from PlayStation. $270 just for that.
Ooh,
Right?
that's American though, right?
Nope, that's Canadian. So,
Oh wow, okay.
then on the other side of it, you ready for an expensive one? Because I'm getting there. Yeah, it's coming. Logitech G Cloud. Hang on. I'm getting there. I'm almost there. Logitech G Cloud is $400. That is a streaming device only. You can download Android stuff, but nobody wants to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm there to play my. The G Cloud allows me to also tap into PC, so I can also tap into my Steam library to play that way. Okay, I'm not done. You guys ready?
Yep.
Then let's get into the big one, the big dog. Depending on the size you go with, 64 gig or 512. Steam Deck for 512 comes in at $870, guys.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I'm thinking it's going to match that a little closer.
I think it's going to be under that, but I think you're right. I think this is going to be the price of a console. So last year, I went out to buy a new Series X. It's like $730 by the time tax hit me, right? By the time tax hit me, I was like $730. What do you
I did it without
doing?
looking at the cash.
Yeah, I was just like, phew. But I didn't have a choice. I needed it. It is what it is. So I got to go get this thing, right? So I go buy it, and I went, whew, plastic. Right? And then when we get into this device, man, are we there too? Is it $700 for this thing? Is it $600? Can they come in under $400, $500? If you can download and stream to this device all of your Xbox library, and future titles, have it run. Does it run at 4K or does it run at 1080? I'm thinking they're pushing 4K. If they push 4K, this thing is $700 easy.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're going to try and take the cost-effective route, not 4K. I'm thinking 1080 in an effort to try and reduce the price to the consumer.
Actually, what they need
because you have to thread that needle.
Yeah, you do.
Need something like if it's a handheld, like Nintendo, you could put it on a dock, play on the TV. You need something like a handheld. You can do that. Like if you're on business trip in a hotel, instead of just playing on your little screen, just to say, "Oh, I'll take this bit out, put in a dock or USB, plug it into your hotel TV, and then away you go."
Nintendo.
That's what I mean. They got the docking. They got the docking station, haven't they, for the Switch?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a legal. I think they legally own that concept, though. I think that was patented because that was one of the first things we saw. I think that was one of the first things we saw of the Switch way back now. But it was blueprints of those docks.
The only reason why I say that because if you had a handheld that can do that, would you necessarily need to go out and buy a console?
Well, that's the other side of it too, right? And I keep talking
if you can use a docking, bigger screen.
Their big push, what I continue to still stand by, is that it's Game Pass. Yeah. Do you want in on the Xbox ecosystem? You get Game Pass. So what if you get this device that's just connected to Game Pass? And then it allows you to buy other games, right, that don't make it to Game Pass. You just download to the platform. At the end of the day, though, where do you guys want to play? I want to play on my couch with my big screen TV, not a little 8-inch screen, right? I like the comfort of the 8-inch screen when I go to bed, and I still want to continue to play a little bit. I'm like, okay, I got another 10 minutes, 15 minutes in me. Let's just chip away at a mission, or I'm going to go play a round of Road to the Show, get that out of the way, play my game, get my rewards, bounce out, call it a night.
And then an hour on Balatro later.
Yeah, there is that too. Yeah, I'm so thankful Balatro has a save point that I can I'm not having to stick around. So it's oh man.
See, I'm quite the opposite from you though. I have failing vision that's not got too much further to fail. So the idea of holding a thing right in front of me is actually attractive now, because especially if I take my glasses off entirely, sign me up.
What are you gonna say, Steve?
Oh no, I was gonna just sort of say it'd be cool if they did do something like that, the handheld, so that you can actually transfer it to a bigger screen of something, whether it's Bluetooth. I mean, all these smart TVs now, everyone's got them, so there's got to be a way of connecting it or doing something with it.
Stadia.
That's a good point, though, Steve. I think there's no need for a dock, though. You wouldn't have to encroach on Nintendo's Switch patents or anything. You just cast your screen.
Sarah Bond says they're going to revolutionize the next generation of consoles. Like that's a bold statement. Very bold, right? And then all of a sudden we go from here's our next console. It's a handheld. I was like, whoa. Like this is you revolutionizing the console market? How? Like, what does this thing do to revolutionize? You don't give us another Switch. We have a Switch. Everybody I know has a Switch, right? So what else are you bringing to the table? Here's the Switch's problem. Half the games don't run in 1080, right? We're not getting 4K out of it. So this is why I'm thinking they are pushing 4K, because they are looking to back this. Can they, maybe like you say, Steve, beam it to our TV instead? We no longer have this big box underneath my TV stand, but that thing, it could be another option, right? Or is it a PlayStation Vita situation that allows it to standalone thing, but with the ability to tap into my console? Like, there's just
is it going to do a dual screen? Is it going to do both of those? Like a Wii U?
To be honest with you, I'm probably being a little bit more biased as well, because I've not actually played like a decent handheld. I've done things on my phone and that. So even though I sort of said, yes, I'm looking forward to the handheld from Xbox, to me, it's still like, it's the money side of things. Do you know what I mean? If it's $500, I have to weigh up the odds. Do I really want to spend $500 on a handheld, or do I want to buy a console that I could play on a big TV? That's going to be more value for money for me in the long run, without trying to read small print. So it's kind of has its pros and cons. I mean, I know I've got my consoles now, so maybe the option to try a handheld to give a proper or have the experience, to be honest with you, say yes or no. But I can't justify the money at the moment.
When do you think we see this?
I'm gonna hazard a guess, and I'm gonna say it's about the same time we find out GTA 6's release date. We'll also find out this release date. I think it's gonna be tied. I don't know if it's 100% that's what caused this whole idea to begin with, but I think it's a convenient timing. And if GTA slips into 2026, as we were talking about, then I think this will join it as well. I don't think we're going to see this for quite some time.
No,
but I do have one question though. What do you think they're going to name it? And I do have my Series Y was a joke. I have a real question, or a real answer, that is.
Yeah, Steve, we'll get to your question in a second there, Scott. But Steve, what are your thoughts? When do you think we see this?
I've got a feeling if it's going to be like the goal of technology, it could either it could be at the Summer Game Fest, or Xbox. Is it like September time when they have their own showcase?
Yeah,
maybe
possibly then, maybe in the fall or something like that when they have an Xbox showcase.
The day the Switch 2
if they do it this year
announced.
Well, so they announced this before the Switch 2. Holy crap! Holy crap! Like, man, like I know there's a diehard Nintendo fans, and they'll be all over the Switch 2 regardless.
Yeah.
But you announced this before that, and could you imagine it runs GTA 6 and runs it well to take that on the go?
Yeah, but can you imagine Nintendo coming out and saying, "Here's our new Switch. It runs at 1080." You can do this game, and an Xbox comes out. Oh yeah, here's GTA 6. The whole game, 4K graphics.
Yeah,
it'd be like,
I think Xbox, the way Sarah Bond is speaking about it, right, where they're going to revolutionize, I think this thing runs at top notch. I think it competes past the Steam Deck. I think Steam Deck looks great. The OLED, from what I understand, at 1080 is outstanding. I think they're looking to push that further. Time will tell, obviously, but I'm thinking that's where they're looking towards. And they're looking to push this almost like their next console.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, you got to think, when everyone has Windows.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you put this on a handheld thing, you're laughing because everything's virtually compatible.
Oh, they said that about the mobile phone, the Windows phone. And that one did not work out. I think Zune was similar, but I'm not familiar.
It's wow, it's gonna be. I can't wait to find out more. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think we see it this year, as much as I'm hoping we do. I think Summer Game Fest. Here's the thing: PlayStation has nothing this year. They have nothing first party. Xbox can come out swinging and destroy this year. There are 4 titles we already know about, plus their own showcase, and they're gonna give us. I almost guarantee it. I don't remember if I predicted this or not. Starfield DLC. We'll see it at Summer Game Fest. We'll see it at Xbox.
I think that was my prediction, but
was it yours? Okay, I knew somebody did, right? I can't remember who. So I think if they come out with that, I know Starfield isn't for everybody, and it's got some very mixed reactions to it. But if they do that and give us this handheld, oh man, like,
can you
things
believe
could pivot away from PlayStation just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
All of these rumors are going, and can you believe there's still people that believe Xbox is going third party? They're quitting out of the console race, and that's just completely bonkers to me.
Do you think there'll be another flight simulator? They always seem to have one every year.
Is 2024 out yet? Is that one out yet? It's coming.
I actually don't know.
Okay, there was talk about it. I have no idea if it's out. But
what one's the one that's out that Kyle's played a bunch of?
That's just Microsoft Flight Sim, and Kyle loves it. It's incredible. But then they followed it up with the sequel of Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. It was like, okay, so that's Microsoft Flight Sim 2. Like, it was very confusing.
We're doing the yearly updates. You got to get all the trades between seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
They must be running out of flying vehicles. Because they must have done everything from the little Cessna to, I think they even had like the June ship.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, actually, the Pelican from Halo.
They've got all kinds of stuff happening. Yeah, and they partner with Dune as well, right? So that whole side of things is coming too. It's nuts, and they're firing on all cylinders over there. It's cool.
Before we hit the end here, I wanna get your guess as to the titling. I'm gonna go with the series Go.
The series. Oh, that's a good one. That's not bad at all. Steve, have you got anything?
Not really, no.
No, I got nothing.
I don't know.
It could be Series A if it's like first steps.
If it's like some of these vehicles, you like the Tiguan and the Equinox and all that kind of thing. Who knows what they can name these things nowadays?
Honestly, I kind of wonder if they'll just name it with another letter. I think
so.
It's just.
I think you're right, Scott. Series Y.
Yeah.
Why?
They're gonna get
that was my joke, but I'm thinking
absolutely.
that Series A, because it's your first step down the line, that could be another possibility. But then why begin with S and then X? And I don't know. It's following car convention. What's the next one? E.
I'm trying to think.
Series
of what
Economy.
Would be a good name for this thing.
I think you're right. I think it'll be stuck on the series.
Yeah,
something.
It's gonna fall under the family, right? The Xbox.
I'm thinking it's Series Go though, because it's very easy to market that.
It's very easy.
Or Series H for handheld. Or
They probably would, Steve. They probably would, right? They fall into that series of games, their series of consoles. This is their next one, right? I'm going with Move for some reason. On the Move, something along that line is kind of. Right, because you take it up and, like you say, go, right? So I was going with On the Move, but yeah, I think On the Move is way too long. You want to keep it short. But Xbox, yeah, I think you've really got it. Xbox goes
instead of a Game Boy, it's the Box Boy. That's awful. That won't happen.
Maybe you need to do a poll.
We should do a poll.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a poll over on
what people's
YouTube
suggestions.
channel. Absolutely. But just like that, guys, our time is up. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been a ton of fun. Hit us up. We're always over on Twitter, the official ITG. And we got a bunch of things changing. But either way, just hit us up over there. Join us every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We are live. And as always, I'm Drew. That's Steve. That's Scott. And we'll be back tomorrow.
And we'll see you inside the game.